welcome back to another episode of the White Sox March to October. And we've got unironically one of my favorite episodes to do after every season. It's the stat recap. So we can all sit back, chill out, relax, look at some stats from our last season for the next half hour or so, however long it takes. And just like our stat recap at the end of last season, there's not really much to be gained from me being on screen. It'll make the editing a lot easier if I'm not. So I'll go ahead and be taking the rest of this video off. You won't have to look at me, and all you'll have to do is listen to the soothing tones of my voice today with my new microphone settings, which hopefully actually sound good. All right, so then let's go ahead, let's get right to it. Let's continue in franchise like we always do. Makes it a lot easier to look at the stats. And actually, I think we're gonna do things in a bit of a different order than we usually do. Usually I save looking at the awards for last, but I want to take a look at these first. I want to get through our awards and then get through our players individually. So let's just start with the players of the month. And let's start with April. I didn't look at September yet, so let's start from here. So we had nobody in April, but this rookie of the month is actually somebody I completely forgot about. This was, I want to say, the 4th overall pick in the year 1 draft, and I think he was the only generational talent. I don't know how he fell to 4 because he was ranked at 1. Picked right before me, and I would have taken him if he fell one more spot. But yeah, I mean, he's 19 years old, up to an 82 overall. Pretty sure that potential was a 99. And I do see that he has the awards tab. I'm not going to scroll over there yet, but I guess there's the chance that this is the dude who beat out Colson Montgomery when it comes to Rookie of the Year. Because remember, when we glanced at him and his player card here after the regular season was over, he didn't have an awards tab, which leads me to believe he didn't win Rookie of the Year. But I guess we'll find out for sure in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, look at me. I'm already getting sidetracked. You know this is about to be an unnecessarily long stat recap when I'm getting distracted by the April Rookie of the Month. So let's move on to May. We finally have our first guy show up, and it's our rookie, Colson Montgomery, winning May Rookie of the Month. And I feel like there's no way that's going to be his only Rookie of the Month award. In June, I mean, it was a different A to win Rookie of the Month, but we have the Pitcher of the Month in Dylan Cease. 55 strikeouts in 5 games with a 5-0 record in June. On to July, and we have a different Pitcher of the Month right after we traded for him. It would be Aaron Savali, which 54 strikeouts for him in 6 games is kind of insane. Because I remember when we traded for him, his strikeout numbers were not impressive at all. And then, yeah, Colson Montgomery does get his second Rookie of the Month award here, batting over 400 with 7 bombs in July. In August, it's back to Leo Sierra, so him and Montgomery are tied with Rookie of the Month awards, so that might be our guy that we're on the lookout for. September, okay, well, this guy's got his second one too now. 6 months, and 3 different players have 2 Rookie of the Month awards. I have no idea who this dude is. He's only a 71 overall C potential, and he only, what? He only played 74 games? Wasn't even that great? Huh, very interesting that he must have like only been good in September and then in June. And that might be the only time he actually played. All right, on then to the real awards. And I think the first ones that are gonna pop up are gonna be the postseason awards. And usually I take a second to formulate a guess as to who would have won postseason and World Series MVP, but this year with how many people played so good for us throughout the entirety of the postseason, I don't know if I can formulate a guess. So let's all just find out then. World Series MVP goes to Eloy. He batted 500, only the 1 home run, but that was the grand slam he hit, I think, in game 1, but a 500 batting average, that is not a fluke. He played all 4 games, started. I did not realize that he was that consistent in those 4 World Series games, but nice. And then total postseason award, that one's gonna go to Colson Montgomery. Okay, I'm surprised we didn't see Luis Robert on this list at all, because I think he led the team in home runs. But there we go, the rookie does take home some hardware. So I guess if we look now, yeah, now he has the awards tab on his player card. All right, but let's go back then through the regular season awards. We got regular season MVP, and even though we had a lot of good players this season, I just don't know if we had any one player that was like outstanding enough to be in the MVP conversation. So who is it gonna be? Yeah, it was Aaron Judge, and I was right. Nobody in the conversation. 3 guys with over 50 home runs though. Judge, 57, batting 312, 146 runs batted in. And then Soto, also very impressive. I mean, could you imagine? Like, I know they're on the same team this year. Could you imagine if these two dudes put up these numbers in real life? And then you got JD Martinez, not even that far behind. I mean, a 300 average and that many home runs. I know that's what Judge did in his big, 62 home run season, but like, that's not normal. NL MVP, that one goes to Acuna. So his second MVP award in 3 seasons. Bryce Harper with a 375 average. Wow, and almost a 500 on base percentage. He managed to hit for that high of an average while also drawing as many walks as he did. That's crazy. All right, so on to AL Cy Young. I'm not gonna lie, I already know who this one is. Dylan Cease goes back to back winning the Cy Young Award with his 296 strikeouts. It's always interesting to me to see what stats this game places the importance on, and it must be strikeouts this year because, his ERA is like a full run worse than Garrett Cole here, but he also has almost a full 100 more strikeouts than Garrett Cole, and I guess that's enough to get him the award. So back-to-back Cy Young Awards going into his free agency. Not going to be the easiest guy to re-sign. The NL Cy Young, that one, yeah, I would have had to imagine it would go to Strider, knowing he had over 300 strikeouts. If Cease won on our side, Strider had to win on theirs. Then next up, we've got the batting title. So all this one is his highest batting average in the league. So that one goes to Seager. Kind of a whatever award for me, as batting average, I feel like, has less and less importance placed on it, at least in real life. In the game, I feel like it's a little bit more important. I would imagine that on the NL side, that one has to, yeah, it goes to Harper. We knew he hit 375. What's next then? Is this going to be Rookie of the Year? No, it's Reliever of the Year, and we don't have anyone here. Garrett Crochet taking his step back, not in the mix. And on the NL side, wow, Brewstar. Brewstar had the Garrett Crochet season. He might have had the exact Garrett Crochet season. 36 innings, 1 run allowed on a solo shot, 8 hits. Hang on, what? He allowed 8 hits, single-digit hits in 36 innings pitched? No, that's crazy, right? That's not normal. I mean, obviously that's not normal, but like, that's unheard of. Wow. And his hits per 9 didn't go up at all. It's only an 87. It's not even like a 99 to explain that. That is ridiculous. I've never seen that before. All right, well, moving on. This one's Rookie of the Year, and huh? So it's not Colson Montgomery. It's not even Leo Sierra. Leo Sierra, though, did finish above Colson Montgomery. But no, the Rookie of the Year award winner, Nico Cavadas, with a batting average of full 50 points below Colson Montgomery, only 2 more home runs, 779 OPS. We can just cycle right down here to Montgomery, and yeah, okay, Colson Montgomery just a casual 937, but no, that's not as good as that, of course. I mean, this dude had the what, 2 more home runs, but 3 triples, 15 doubles. Montgomery with 33 doubles, so he more than doubled the doubles. He doubled the triples. Strikeout to walk ratio, kind of insane for a rookie. I mean, way better than our guy Nico here. What even is this selection? 0.5, a 0.5 wins above replacement for this dude. Colson Montgomery had like over a 6.5, 6.7. This is terrible. I mean, like, Montgomery, I feel like, was easily better than Leo Sierra also. So like, I don't know how he finishes behind him, but how do both of these guys finish behind this guy? What? I'm at a loss for words. I wouldn't normally care this much. Like, I feel like an award doesn't matter this much except for this specific award, because that's a thing, right? The whole prospect promotion incentive, whatever it's called. If you promote a guy who's on the opening day roster and then they go on to win Rookie of the Year, you get an extra draft pick, and it's like early. It's like the 32nd, 31st pick, whatever it is. It's like right after the first round, and we're not going to get that now. We could have had essentially an extra first round pick if the game was not dumb. That's the only word I can come up with to describe this, is dumb. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's nothing I can do about it. There's no reason to waste any more energy. We just move on. NL award winner, this guy, whatever. Aaron Judge award. Hank Aaron award goes to Judge, so he takes that home along with the MVP. Harper in the NL, and then we're on to Gold Glove awards and Silver Slugger, so we're just going to go through these just very quickly here to see if we have anybody in the running, like Mitch Garver running up the Gold Glove award for catcher, first base, nobody at second, nobody at third, short, left, center, and right. We have Dominic Fletcher as the runner-up. Man, he could have gone back-to-back. So no Gold Gloves on this team. How about Silver Sluggers? Eloy finishing second behind JD. I mean, of course, out-homered by 23. That one makes sense. I'm fine with that. Didn't have the catcher. We had first and second place for first base. Kind of a shame, and this same thing is probably going to come up when we do our off-season episode again. But for this, kind of a shame we can't change primary positions because Vlad was a third baseman. And if we could have actually changed him to third, or the game recognized that he played most of the time at third base, we could have had Vaughn win at first, and then maybe Vlad wins at third, and we get extra awards. But that's okay. Vladdy goes back-to-back. Nobody at second base, nobody at third, nobody at short. This is going to be Colson Montgomery's award very soon here to win every year, even with the talent we see here. Outfield, you got Robert was the runner-up, so I think that means he is like perpetually the runner-up as we move through these. So he would have been fourth when the top three outfielders win the award. So it's Judge, it's Soto, and it's Adolis Garcia. And I think that does it then for awards. So now that leaves us to go to each individual player and talk about their seasons. We're going to start with pitching this time, and I guess we'll get it started with our highest overall pitcher, Dylan Cease. Already kind of talked about him with winning the Cy Young, all those strikeouts. Still would like to see the ERA not up at a 5 or a 353. Like, that's a little bit higher than I feel like I'd want out of a 95 overall, but maybe I'm just asking too much. I don't know. I mean, I gotta assume that comes from the 38 home runs he gave up as opposed to 24, so 14 less in pretty much the same number of innings last season. But yeah, his contract's up. He's about to be a free agent. I want to bring him back. The plan is to try and bring him back, but you don't know if that's guaranteed. You don't know if you can make that happen, and especially with the numbers he put up, he's going to cost about as much as a starting pitcher can cost. Next up, though, we've got Jordan Montgomery, who we did sign in the offseason, and I'm glad to see this. I'm glad to see his attributes getting back to going up, because if you remember, when we signed him, he didn't pitch in 2024. They just, I don't know, I guess he started on our March to October rosters as a free agent, and then other teams just don't make moves during the season, so he wasn't able to be signed. And with that, all of his attributes were going down, but signing him, he got him back up. He had a really nice season for us, and we've got him for 2 more. Well, and I guess I forgot, I do always like to scroll to the end here and look at wins above replacement. So he's got a 5.3, and then Dylan Cease actually only a 5.1. So Montgomery, in terms of wins above replacement at least, outpitched Dylan Cease. Then we moved to Aaron Savali, traded for him, about midway through the season. And when we did trade for him, he was not having a great year, really. He didn't have all that impressive of numbers. His strikeout total was way below that total innings count. So he was, way below that 1 strikeout per inning. Strikeouts came way up, kind of out of nowhere, almost punching out 200. I remember right after we got him, that ERA was just plummeting down, which was great to see, but it kind of evened out here around the 420 mark. Then if we scroll all the way over, 2.9 wins above replacement, and he will be a free agent. We only, had him, we knew we only had him for the rest of this year, but we're going to have a lot of spots to fill on this team, a lot of decisions to make when it comes to pitching, and I would not mind exploring bringing him back. I mean, he's still pretty young at 29 years old, same age as Dylan Cease. Moving on then to Kopech, who did have really nice progression throughout the season to his overall, to his attributes. The exciting thing was seeing that stamina actually go up by 1, but to me, it's probably not enough to want to bring him back because he's yet another free agent going into next season. And we've had our frustrations with Kopech, not really understanding why his numbers just never seem to be able to look better than they are. Like, I don't know, 4.68 ERA to what you're probably gonna have to pay an 82 overall A potential, to me is just not worth it. So I'm probably not really gonna bring him back or not even think about it. Again, we'll see. A lot of question marks going into the offseason when it comes to pitching. 4 of our 5 starting pitcher spots, at least in terms of who was in our ending rotation, are going to free agency. The last one being Kyle Hendricks, who was actually auto-signed signed. CPU signed him for me at the end of the offseason last year, but I wasn't upset about that. Normally I don't like those moves, but this one worked out, and it actually worked out better because when I was looking through signings, I would have wanted to sign Hendricks for only 1 year, but I feel like that was a thing I couldn't do. I think I could only offer him 2 years or more. So then I just didn't offer him anything, and the CPU brought him in for a year, and this is what he did in a year for me. 3.22 ERA, a 117 whip, which I did not realize that was that good. 4.4 wins above replacement. I mean, that would make him our third best pitcher, right, in terms of WAR. Not even that far behind Cease. Then moving to the bullpen, we've got Jake Eder, and this was a step back for him. I was not super enthused by what Eder did for me this year. I really thought, based on his rookie season, that maybe the 3-pitch mix wasn't going to have a negative effect on him, but clearly it did in 16 starts, and then I had to move him to the bullpen. The ERA stayed up over 5, and that gives him a 1.3 wins above replacement. I guess if there's any silver lining is the FIP was like a whole run below his ERA, so according to that, he should have pitched better than he actually did, or his numbers should have looked better, however that works, however you're supposed to say it. And again, with all those question marks in our starting rotation, I kind of want to give him another chance along with Schuster. Schuster, another guy who we got those fast tracks with, those call-ups with, the big boosts up to an 84, just like Eder, but another guy with only the 3-pitch mix that hasn't had much success when he has started games for me in the MLB. He was, though, primarily a relief pitcher. Those only 2 starts were the 2 call-up starts that I controlled him in, and kind of exactly like Eder, like I was just saying, I feel like I kind of want to give him another chance. Like, we're already going to have to shell out a lot of money for Cease. Vlad's also going into free agency. He'll cost a lot to bring him back. We have other spots on the team that we're gonna need to fill. So if I can fill up 2 of the 4 starting pitching spots that we know we're gonna need with Jake Eder and Jared Schuster, and if they can pitch like they're 84 overalls, that'd be what I'd want to do. On next to Tyler Wells, not too much to talk about here. It took forever to promote him. He was one of those guys that was stuck in the minors for most of the season. Once he got the call, he pitched pretty solid. Barely, moved the needle on the WAR, but that's tough to do as a reliever anyway, and we have him on the books for another 2 seasons, so a solid mid-70s reliever with a lot of stamina and a lot of different pitches to throw for only $2 million. Very good stuff. Then we get into one of our 2 huge offseason signings when it came to relief pitching. It's Tanner Scott, 91 overall lefty. Turns out he might have regressed like an overall point, but he didn't pitch like it. 2.41 ERA. Didn't really walk many batters, only the 8 walks. And yeah, he was somebody that I always felt confident with when I brought him into the game. Not really much else to say about him except that he came in, he did exactly what we paid him to do. Same thing can be said about Clay Holmes. Same situation. Brought him in as another big relief pitcher arm, and he pitched incredible, especially in the playoffs. When I brought him into a game, I felt like the other team had no chance of scoring off of him, and they practically didn't. They didn't really in the regular season either. Only 5 runs allowed, earned runs allowed, only 21 hits, 8 walks, a .71 whip, and a 1.11 ERA. I mean, he did more than what we pay him to do. And depending on how the offseason goes, I am thinking of making him the closer, just with how Crochet struggled a little bit more this year, and with thinking of moving Eder and Schuster into the rotation. It might be kind of helpful to I mean, I guess it wouldn't be adding a lefty, but having Crochet be a guy we can bring in and not just save until the 9th inning is kind of like adding another lefty to the team. I don't know, just something I'm thinking about. But then we come to Johnny Lasagna, another offseason signing to bolster this bullpen. And he was just one of those guys that for whatever reason, the game didn't really use. I can't even remember also, did he have a time where he wasn't on the big league team? Like, was he one of the guys that got demoted, was maybe stuck in the minors because we just had to have Davy Garcia on the team? I don't remember. But in the time he did pitch, didn't pitch all that great actually. 4.60 ERA, slightly negative WAR. But I tend to like using Johnny Lasagna. We've got him under contract for 4 more seasons, actually. I didn't realize I signed him for that long. On then to Miguel Castro, another offseason signing, and there's really nothing to talk about here. I mean, he pitched in 2 innings. He was just a guy the CPU did not use for whatever reason, and then eventually I had the chance to send him down to get somebody else up, and I did. At a 72 overall, I don't know what the future holds for him. I don't know if he'll be a major league guy, if he'll be a minor league guy. Don't know what the future holds. And then Crochet, we've alluded to him a little bit. His attributes got better with that 8 potential, so that's always good to see. But yeah, when you compare what he did this year to what he did last year, it's definitely a regression. Same number of saves, pretty much the same number of innings pitched. Definitely not the same anything else. I mean, he gave up way more hits, way more runs. Walks were up, strikeouts were down, and that's all going to lead to more runs allowed. I mean, honestly, still pretty effective to be 39 of 45 in save opportunities. But I like this Crochet. I like 2024 dominant closer Crochet. And also, like, side note, how crazy is it what Crochet's been able to do in real life? Obviously, we started this March to October before any roster updates when they still considered Garrett Crochet a relief pitcher, so that's what he's been for us. But it would have also been a lot of fun to have, you know, starter Crochet and see what he could have done for us in that role, although that would have meant not having Dylan Cease. So I don't know what end of the trade-off there I would like to have. All right, let's move on to the hitting then next, and we'll just go down this batting order here. I don't want to spend too much time dwelling on all these players because pretty much all of them are the same type of thing. They're all just really good. Everybody. Like, Benintendi's been playing better, way better than I would have expected him to for both seasons now. He's just really good at the plate. And even with his fielding not being so great, I feel like when I use him, he tends to actually run down balls you wouldn't expect him to get to. So I don't know what that's all about, but very unlike real life Benintendi, I'm really enjoying March to October Benintendi. Then you got Dominic Fletcher, another overperformer here. Another great year of progression with that 8 potential. He had 20 home runs now for back-to-back seasons, batting over 300, almost a 500 slug, and he's just going to continue to improve. I mean, we've got him under team control for so much longer. He's got so much room to fulfill that 8 potential, and he's already as good as he is. Then it's Vlad, highest overall. He finally reached that 99 overall during the course of this season, but we're going to have to pay him. He's entering free agency. Another guy that I want to bring back. I feel like winning back-to-back titles makes him a Chicago White Sox, and we want to keep it that way. We're not spending Jerry's money here. We can give out multi-$100 million contracts, and that's what I want to do for Vlad. But another great season at the plate for him. The power stayed the same while the average came up. Again, a little frustrating about the whole primary position of third thing, because I do think that's keeping his wins above replacement at least from being better, because I think it's kind of detecting this 13 errors with a 970 fielding percentage as him putting up those numbers as a first baseman, which would be terrible. So I think that's just giving him a massive hit to that wins above replacement, because nobody hitting 306 with a 966 OPS and over 40 home runs should only have a 3.3 WAR. And next we got Luis Robert Jr. up to a 95 overall. His power against lefties took a hit this year, but the contact went up, so like that, I'm kind of fine with that. He's still hitting lefties, just not hitting the ball out. Discipline went way up too, which for Luis Robert Jr. is a very good thing. And a lot like we were just talking about with Vlad, he had a very similar home run count, but the average came up to meet it. I mean, actually, I didn't notice this. He played in the exact same number of games, got the exact same number of ABs, but added an extra, what would that be, 29 hits? While also raising that walk count up to 77 and reducing the strikeouts down under 100. Yeah, he's turning himself into what we all hoped as White Sox fans he would be. 8.8 wins above replacement in center field. We don't have to worry about paying him for a little while too. It's almost like this is a superstar the White Sox should build around and not really trade away. Then you got Eloy, who is another guy that does not let us down in the video game White Sox world, when that unfortunately is what he seems to do in the real world, is let us down. But yeah, another 30 home run season from the guy. 294 average, 869 OPS. I mean, technically his numbers got a little worse, but when they're still that good, I'm not concerned. Another guy we don't have to worry about doing anything with until at least next season, or after next season. So for now, he's just firmly placed and plugging up that DH role. And then Vaughn, who's been continuing to develop nicely, up to an 84 overall with his A potential. 31 home runs, hitting over 30 for the first time. Also 35 doubles. Almost got that average up over 300. 875 OPS. I really liked what Vaughn did for me. Like, especially with where his hitting has improved to, ratings wise, and knowing he still has that A potential to fulfill. The only thing is the whole Vlad situation. Like, it's not ideal to have Vlad playing third, but you're not going to put Vaughn at third. You're not going to put Vaughn in the outfield, and you can't put Vaughn at DH because Eloy's there. But we've got one more year of him under team control, and then we'll have to figure something out. But for now, Vaughn's here. Vaughn's sticking around. Who might not be sticking around, though, is Mitch Garver. And he might be the first and maybe only letdown on this team. I don't even know if you can call it that. He still hit 28 home runs as a catcher. It's just like his average, his on base, OPS, that was all slightly down. He's still, I don't know. I mean, he had a 4.4 WAR season behind the plate. You can't really be mad at that. You can't say that's bad. So I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I'm just letting his postseason performance or lack thereof cloud my judgment. But catcher is the biggest and maybe only question mark we have offensively going into next season. We're definitely going to have to figure out something to do about that. But then we come to Colson Montgomery. Maybe the single happiest I am when it comes to how they performed. Massive progression with that A potential. I don't remember what he started the year at. I think it was a 76 though. So +7 to his overall. And then we've already looked at his stats when talking about rookie of the year. But look what he did as a rookie. 24 homers, over 30 doubles. 313 average, 937 OPS. We already looked at his WAR, up there amongst the highest on the team. I mean, he might truly be ready to take over as the star of the Chicago White Sox, if he's not already. And then finally, when it comes to our starting lineup, it's Ezekiel Duran. One of, if not maybe, was the first trade we made back in year one. I don't quite remember, but this was an important one to get a young guy who we were going to have for a while. And he's continued to develop up to an 85 overall. He kind of took a little bit of a step back this year, but again, this is not a season you get mad at somebody for having. I mean, this is still really good numbers. And the good thing about him is that versatility. He can play all over the infield. He can play corner outfield, and that might be where he plays. I mean, depending on what happens with like Benintendi, you know, if there's ever a point where we don't want Benintendi to start anymore, Duran can easily move to the outfield. Or if we have people coming up like Colin Houck, who we traded for, who we'll talk about a little bit later, or I guess just any new infielder in general, Duran is easily capable of moving to the outfield. And then we can talk about our bench guys real quick. Garrett Hampson, off-season signing, and he filled the exact role that I needed him to fill, and he did it to perfection. I signed him to be a utility guy. He got into 72 games with a 308 average. I mean, this is just exactly what you signed him to do. And that's really all you can say. I mean, I couldn't be any happier with what Hampson did as like a bench guy. We can go to Brian Ramos next, although there's really not much to talk about because he didn't really play in the MLB. We did get that fast track with him though earlier to bump that potential up and bump that overall up. Don't quite know what the future holds for him though. It kind of all hinges on whether or not we're able to bring Vlad back. But he's young, he's got good potential, and he's got room to get there with a solid foundation. Like, he's solid in the field already. You can tell he's already solid at the plate. He just needs to get like a little bit better, and then I'd feel really good, honestly, already about having him up in the bigs. Max Stassi, backup catcher. I don't really ever know what to say about backup catchers because I'm kind of indifferent to how they play as long as they do play. So Stassi played in 40 games and he actually, I mean, he did really good. I actually did not realize how good he did. An 837 OPS out of your backup catcher, not even a 70 overall. Okay, Max Stassi, when were you doing this? And then I really don't even have anything to say about Ryan McKenna, like legitimately nothing to say. He's a veteran that just kind of ended up on our team, ended up on our postseason roster. That's about it. But one of the benefits to doing this after the entire season's over and in the franchise mode section is we can go into our roster here and talk about other players that were up in the bigs at one point that then got sent down or moved around or whatever. I guess there's really nobody to talk about amongst our starting pitchers, but Tukey's a good one to talk about because he spent the entire regular season in our bullpen. And again, very good stuff from Tukey. Pitched a lot less than he did last season, but pitched pretty much just as good when he did. And I really want to give him a chance to start. But the problem is you can't change positions, but I want to show you guys right now what happens when we do. So remember, he's a 68 overall. If we change him and turn him into a starter with the same attributes, he becomes a 78 overall. So they weigh the attributes differently to go into overall between starters and relievers and all that sorts of stuff. So Tukey as a starter would be a 78, and I would love to give him a chance to be in our rotation as a 78. The thing is that's not what he's going to be. We can't change his position in March to October, so he's going to be treated as a 68 overall relief pitcher, and I don't know what the game's going to do with that. I can't guarantee that he's going to be on the big league team. I can't even guarantee he's going to be on the team at all because he was a guy who's out of minor league options. So I don't know what the CPU is going to do about that. They could non-tender him like they did with Gavin Sheets after year one, and then he's just not here at all because we do have a lot of higher rated arms when it comes to the bullpen that who knows what the game would do. The game also auto signs people at the end of the offseason, so I can't say I'm too optimistic about Tukey's future with this team, and I don't know if there's really anything I can do about that. But everything that I just talked about that could happen to Tukey better happen to Davy Garcia. This dude cannot be back on our big league team next season, and I'm kind of worried that he might be because the contract still says he's on the 40-man roster with all of his minor league options used up, and that was the exact reason why he was stuck on the MLB team last year. And I mean, look what he did. Why is this guy here? Why is he on the big league team with his 7.22 ERA? I mean, the biggest source of frustration for me in the regular season was this man. We had it in year one with Sammy Peralta way down here, and after the season he had, they actually took him off the 40-man, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. So we just gotta hope they do the same thing with Garcia. Another guy we should talk about because he did spend some time on the big league squad is Colin Houck. Traded for him. He might have been my last trade before the deadline, but I wanted to get a young guy with potential. I wasn't really anticipating him getting into MLB action this year, but that's just how it went. But he was really good. I mean, 36 ABs and he was batting 361. To see him do that when, in my opinion, he was not ready to do anything, kind of has me really high on what Colin Houck could do. Like, I want to see those ratings come up a bit more. I want him to start next season down in AAA. And a lot of that is also because I want the chance to get him a fast track or an attribute boost call up, one of those things. I would love that for him. But yeah, this dude is definitely, when it comes to the future, he is at the forefront of that future. And that is just about all we have to talk about, except Yoelqui Cespedes and Samad Taylor did have some time on the MLB team. Didn't really do much, didn't really factor into much. I just feel like I should point it out and show you guys what their stats actually were. But other than that, that does it for our stat recap episode. I'm telling you guys, every single time I do this, I tell myself to not overdo it, to keep it short. We don't need to sit here talking for too long, and the next thing I know, I've been yapping for an hour. But like I said at the beginning, these are genuinely one of my favorite episodes to do. I love looking through our guys' stats. I love familiarizing myself with the season that everybody had know all the ins and outs of our guys on our team, and I like being able to show you guys that too. But with that taken care of, next episode is the off season, and I don't know what's in store. Like Dylan Cease, Vlad, I want to bring him back, but there is no guarantee. I feel like a lot of times with the high overall free agents, they want to sign like right away. And if we get one of those last chance opportunities in like the first week of the offseason, we might only have a 50-50 shot at bringing both of them back. And whether we do or we don't, there's still also a lot of other holes to fill. So this might be one of the more challenging off seasons that I've had to deal with since off seasons became a thing in March to October. And I'm actually really excited. But that's next episode. All we got to worry about right now is if you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button for me as always. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me again, and I will see you next time.